哦，今天同大家 Today I'm going to talk about the Chinese GPU or 3D card because recently I saw the news here about this latest one, the latest more fast company presents MTT GPU series with Musa architecture. This is the latest one, and before it was Zhenjiang Micro or other Chinese GPU, and this is the latest one and newest one. So I want to recapture the Chinese GPU and 3D cards market to everybody, and to talk about it, because this is the new one, the newest one. So this one, as I read the news, talking about there are two models. MTT S60 is for the desktop, and MTT S2000 is for server, or those maybe data center, I don't know. So this is for the enterprise. This is for the MTT S60 is for the normal user. So more facts has only been established 18 months only. So in 2021, the company announced it, developing a fully featured graphics processor, to say the least. It was hard to believe that such a young company would achieve what many companies were unable to do for years, to bring their own GPU to the market in such a short time. Because why? Because the company is led by Zhang Jianzhong, who is a former global vice president and a general manager for Nvidia. Oh, that's why he left Nvidia to China to establish this company. So with this 15 years of experience in graphics market, a very good support from experienced team and partners, his company today presented its first graphics cards for gaming and servers. Yes, the MTT S2000 is for servers. So this is the GPU, more from More Fast. The company name is More Fast. So this is the spec of this GPU. You can see here, 12 nanometer, and S60, the desktop one, offers 60 floors. So the servers one over 12 T floors, and equipped with 8 GB RAM, DDR4, and featured 32 gig of undisclosed memory type. So this is very great. I think it's very fast, and it claims that they can play the League of Legends very smooth with 1080p. So the most significant thing is that this GPU can also run the DirectX, so there are so many games supporting. I think it's very good. Expecting that to match with my Longsum, because it also matches Chinese GPU and Chinese OpenGL Vulkan as well. Support Vulkan, so it's open source Vulkan engine as well. So I think it's very great, and it's very fast and smooth. You can see this is the League of Legends. They are playing at 1080p resolution, and the game official recommends best least GeForce GTX 560 or Radeon AMD 6950. So it's equal to this kind of level. So I think it's very enough for Chinese CPU, so it can use very fast and enough to match. And it tells that it can match Chinese OS like Linux and UOS, Deepin, or Chinese CPU Longsum, Zhaoxin, Lithium, those kind of CPU, GPU, Chinese one also match. So sooner or later, I can match this GPU 3D card. I can buy it with my Lonesome CPU to play the League of Legends, to play the game very smoothly. And we don't need to buy the American Nvidia, AMD, or Windows to play the game. I think I'm expecting that. I think normally it will release next year, 2023, and there are at least 2 or 3 Chinese GPU and 3D cards which can play game, which have the power of one GTX 1050 or 1040, GTX 1040 kind of level. Sooner or later, I think it's good. And let's see. Yeah, those are the information. 60 F-flops. Okay, support DirectX. Okay, and other Chinese CPU I have to mention is that next year probably have there are now so many Chinese GPU. Other GPUs is that Silicon. They built its first domestically produced graphic cards. You can see also to 10 T-flux, 32 gig DDR6 memory. This is a Fantasy 1 风华. This is a 摩尔线情. This is 风华一号. This another brand. So at least 1, 2. The second one is it domestically produced, not Nvidia, not USA stuff. And also the specs here, you can see also around 60 T flux, 20 T tops, 24 tops. I think it's enough to play games as well. And very great, huh? Okay. Also can play the game League of Legends. I think it's okay. So many. I think this one is based on the Power VR. Should be. Yes, let me search. Silicon. Power VR. Yes. I think they bought the Power VR, another GPU's company, Imagination, and together joint venture or bought their license, or even bought the company to build this. So it's based on the Americans' Power VR. Power VR, American one. I think it is. Imagination technology. Yeah, GPU. Yeah, exactly. Imagination. Okay, and what's more is the another one is this Citium 新铜半导体 also has the this kind of GPU. I think this is, and the second one is the Fantasy via Silicon, doesn't support DirectX, I think. Only the first one, the Morse FAT, supports DirectX maybe. So it also supports the Chinese CPU GPU, but may not support DirectX, I think. Maybe search for it. And let's see. Let me search. Silicon DirectX. This family of graphic cards with DirectX. Yes, maybe I saw some posts which supports DirectX as well for the Fantasy one for the Inno Silicon. So maybe let's see whether it supports DirectX when it releases. I think it supports, so no worry. Another one is this Chiense this one may not support the DirectX. You can see only supports OpenGL, and those are the information. Yeah, OpenGL no DirectX, but still good for support. You can see support the CentOS, Linux, and the Chinese Linux and CPU, 龙芯同 Chinese Phytium, Qilin, are all other CPU. And those are the information. You can see this is also great. ELA for doing some kind of jobs. And another one is the Chiense Micro. This one also great, and which supports the level is like 106, 1080. So also coming next year, which means it's 2022 or 2023. So there are many GPUs sooner or later also have the 9 series. I got the 7 series using, but it's not so fast. Only so expecting the 9 series. 9 series, then it will be fast. 8T flux. Also around those kind of things. I want to the equivalent Nvidia GTX 1040 or 1050, those kind of cards I have mentioned. I think it's around, yeah, 1050 or those kind of things is similar. You can see T-Force is around or even better. Yeah, 80 Fox for JM9, and the Nvidia 1.82 A62 for the GTX 1050, and also those are the information. So there are so many 3D cards will be out there this year or next year in 2022 or 2023. So I'm expecting it. So Chiense Micro may not support the DirectX. Let me search Chiense Micro. Let me search. Wait for a moment. Let's see. I think cannot support DirectX, so Chiense Micro cannot play the DirectX game. That also have a Vulkan, I think. So it can be okay for also support the Chinese GPU and OS CPU as well. So I think the China's more threat is the best one, and so supporting DirectX, and also this power by the imagination and power VR, that kind of inner silicon is the second best, and other Chiense Micro and this Citium may not support DirectX, so it's not so great. But there are at least 4 kind of companies, 3D cards companies. So this year will be coming, and there are more like Longshan CPU or other, Jiaoshen CPU also are doing the 3D cards and GPU as well. Just like here, you can see there are many companies doing that. So now the most significant is the Chiense Micro. Here, Chiense Micro doesn't support DirectX, as I mentioned. Chiense CPU Company also doing the GPU, and 中工09那個 GPU 也also making GPUs. I didn't review it. I haven't reviewed it, but also making GPU, CPU. I mean GPU 3D card as well, and also 航景科技、心动科技就是 Inner Silicon, I think is Inner Silicon. Yeah, Inner Silicon, as I have already mentioned it. So there are at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think around 10 companies. I think around 10 Chinese companies are making Chinese GPU 3D cards. Sometimes some companies are pure self-research, self-homegrown one. Some maybe with assistance with imagination and Power VR, or some kind of foreign companies, American companies, joint venture. Some joint ventures, some self-made, self-research. So I think Chinese GPU will be very versatile, and there are many GPU though. So next 2 years in China local market, there are 4 or 5 companies coming out with the Chinese GPU and 3D cards, and maybe within 5 years they will release to the road and dedicated to the road, and Nvidia and Intel, or kind of AMD will be afraid of Chinese GPU and 3D cards as well. And the CPU I have already mentioned, and I got recorded a lot of videos about the Chinese CPU, so you can see Longson, Jiaoxin, Phytium, or those kind of CPUs as well. Now Chinese GPU and 3D cards are going up, so I'm expecting it, and I would like to play the play the games with Chinese CPU and GPU as well. So I think it's good. So let me play the clips for reviewing this Chinese more spreads, the best one for you. It's talking about this a Chinese GPU and or 3D cards can play the League of Legends. Now it's coming. More spread. Yeah, as I have mentioned, desktop MTT S60 and servers one MTT S2000. This is not only the first Chinese-made GPU and 3D card. As I have mentioned, there are many companies which can make a GPU in China. As I have mentioned, the Chiense Micro, Inner Silicon, and 心动科技 Inner Silicon and 心动半导体 the SATM also have released their GPU and 3D card. For the desktop, now we're introducing this 12 nanometer 2000 around the Musa cores and 60 flux. 192 pixel and back 8 gig DDR4 RAM, 4K 8K supported, ultra high resolution, not only supporting AMD, Intel, also support Chinese CPU, Phytium, Longsin, Jiaoxin, Haigang, Chinese CPU. Also support Windows 10, Qilin Linux, UOS, Deepin, and more Linux operation systems. So this is 3D card supports all Windows, all OS, all CPU, and also now they are demonstrating the League of Legends using this card. This is the first card. This is the first card that can play the League of Legends. This is the first Chinese 3D card that can play the League of Legends smoothly with a 1080p. And Jian Jianzhong is was the former Nvidia president, so he left and established this company's more fat. I'm expecting it. 15 years of the GPU research experience, and last year, November, Morris Fest has already finished some kind of millions, 2 billions. 2 billions A share with the stock market, also listed in the China A stock market. So it's a very rich company and with very good. And this is the first Chinese card that can play the League of Legends. So do you wanna buy it, my friend? I think the Chinese GPU, okay, or CPU can I think this, to sum up, I think for the this year 2022 we release at least 1 or 2 Chinese 3D cards in the Chinese local market within this 2 years, 2022 and 2022 to 2023. We release 1 or 2 3D cards, and within 10 years they will release it to the world, not only the local Chinese market. I am expecting that, and I will buy it immediately right after they release it to the market. I will have a test for it and post the videos to everybody to see this and play the League of Legends or all the 3D games, 3D massive play games with this GPU 3D card with my Longsun CPU. Sooner or later I'm expecting it, and they will dedicate to the world, not only limited to the Nvidia or AMD or Intel or Windows. Okay, so happy share with this. Hope you enjoy my videos. So goodbye.